Have you ever noticed that some people speak, and the whole room listens? Not because they are the loudest. Not because they are the richest. Not because they are the most powerful. But because when they speak, their words carry weight. And then there are others who speak endlessly. Yet nobody truly listens. Nobody remembers. Nobody respects it. Why? What makes one voice powerful and another forgettable? It is not volume. It is not grammar. It is not vocabulary. It is presence, control, timing, and truth. Listen carefully, because this may change how you communicate forever. Respect is not demanded. It is felt. And often, it is felt in the way you speak. Before people respect your ideas, they study your delivery, your calm, your restraint, your confidence, your emotional control. Because speech reveals character. A careless tongue reveals a careless mind. A disciplined tongue reveals inner power. And Stoics understood this deeply. They knew something modern people often forget. The strongest person in the room is often the one who speaks the least, but speaks with intention. Today, we are going to break down 5 Stoic laws of speech. Laws that make people stop, listen, and respect you. Not fear you. Respect you. Because fear fades. Respect remains. And stay until the end. Because the 5th law is the most powerful. It can change your relationships, your confidence, and your influence. And if you're serious about mastering yourself and becoming mentally stronger, follow the Stoic path. Because here, we sharpen the mind and build quiet power. Now let's begin. Law number 1, speak less, mean more. Most people talk too much. Not because they have too much wisdom, but because silence makes them uncomfortable. And that is dangerous. Because the more you speak carelessly, the less value your words carry. Imagine gold. If gold were everywhere, it would lose value. Scarcity creates worth. The same is true for words. A Stoic understands this. Speak less. Mean more. There was once a king who had 2 advisors. One spoke constantly, always offering opinions, always filling silence. The other spoke rarely, but whenever he did, everyone listened. One day the king asked, "Why does everyone trust him more?" And the answer was simple. Because his silence proved he does not speak without reason. That is power. Not speaking to impress. Speaking because it matters. People respect restraint. When you speak too much, you reveal too much. Your insecurity. Your need for validation. Your emotional instability. But when you speak carefully, people sense discipline. And discipline creates respect. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself. Be quick to listen. Slow to speak. That is wisdom. And in today's world, where everyone is trying to be heard, silence has become a weapon. Think about the strongest people you know. They don't rush to fill every gap. They are comfortable with silence. Why? Because silence communicates confidence. A nervous person talks. A grounded person observes. An observation sharpens speech. Before speaking, ask. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it useful? If not, silence is stronger. There is a story of a young student who wanted to sound wise. He interrupted often. Spoke quickly. Argued loudly. One day his teacher poured tea into a cup. And kept pouring. Until it overflowed. The student shouted. It's full. The teacher smiled. So are you. Too full of words to receive wisdom. That lesson changed him. And it should change you. Respect begins with restraint. Not everything needs your opinion. Not every argument needs your participation. Not every silence needs your voice. Choose carefully. Because every word shapes your image. And people remember how you speak. Long after they forget what you said. Law number 2, control emotion before speaking. This law separates the weak from the strong. Anyone can speak when calm. But how do you speak when angry? When hurt? When betrayed? That reveals character. Most people lose respect not because they are wrong, but because emotion hijacks their words. And emotional speech is dangerous. Words spoken in anger often outlive the anger itself. A father once shouted at his son in rage. Cruel words. Sharp words. Later, he apologized. But the son never forgot. Because apologies heal. But memory keeps scars. That is the power of words. And why Stoics trained emotional control. Epictetus taught. No man is free who cannot control himself. That includes speech. Control yourself before you express yourself. Pause. Think. Breathe. A calm voice in conflict commands respect. An explosive voice loses it. Imagine fire. When controlled, fire warms. When uncontrolled, fire destroys. Emotion is the same. Use it. Do not let it use you. There was once a general insulted publicly by a soldier. Everyone expected anger. Punishment. Humiliation. Instead, the general smiled and walked away. Later someone asked, "Why didn't you respond?" He said, "Because his anger belongs to him. Not me." That is mastery. And mastery commands respect. The world expects reaction. Calm surprises people. And surprise creates power. When someone tries to provoke you, your calm becomes your shield. And shields preserve dignity. Remember. The person who angers you controls you. Do not hand over control. Keep your center. Keep your dignity. Keep your words clean. Because respect follows self-control. Let me tell you something powerful. People do not respect complicated speech. They respect clear speech. Because clarity reveals order. And order reveals discipline. A confused speaker creates confusion. A clear speaker creates trust. And trust is the foundation of respect. That brings us to the third law. Law number 3, speak with clarity, not confusion. Many people speak to sound intelligent. Big words. Long explanations. Too much detail. And in the end, nobody understands them. That is not wisdom. Wisdom is making the complex simple. A wise person does not speak to impress. They speak to communicate. There was once a philosopher known for answering difficult questions in simple ways. One day, a wealthy man asked him, "How can I know if someone is truly wise?" The philosopher replied, "If they can explain deep truth simply." That was it. Short. Clear. Powerful. And unforgettable. That is the power of clarity. Clear words carry strength. Weak minds hide behind confusion. Strong minds simplify. Think of a sword. A sharp sword cuts cleanly. A dull sword struggles. Speech is the same. Sharp words. Clear intention. Direct truth. That commands respect. A man once gave a speech at a gathering. He used fancy words. Complex thoughts. Long sentences. When he finished, people clapped politely. But they forgot everything. Then an old man stood up and said, "Discipline is choosing what matters over what feels good." One sentence. The room went silent. Because truth, when clear, lands deeper. That is your goal. Not more words. Better words. Ask yourself before speaking. Can this be simpler? Can this be clearer? Can this be stronger? Because clear speech creates strong presence. And presence creates respect. Now understand this. Clarity is not just words. It is tone. Delivery. Energy. A confident message spoken weakly loses power. But a clear message delivered with calm conviction changes rooms. Tone matters. Say this sentence. I'm fine. Now say it in anger. Now in sadness. Now in confidence. Same words. Different meaning. That's the power of tone. Your tone often speaks louder than your words. And people respect tone that feels stable. Not desperate. Not chaotic. Stable. Grounded. Measured. That is Stoic speech. Now let's go deeper. Law number 4, never explain yourself to everyone. This law is powerful. And difficult. Because many people are addicted to explaining themselves. Why? Because they want approval. Validation. Understanding. But here is the truth. Not everyone deserves an explanation. And over-explaining weakens your position. A lion does not explain why it hunts. It hunts. Its actions speak. A disciplined person understands. Not everyone will understand your choices. And that's okay. A young man once left a high-paying job to pursue his purpose. His family questioned him. His friends mocked him. And for months, he kept explaining. Trying to make them understand. Trying to justify himself. Until an old mentor told him, "Stop explaining your path to people committed to misunderstanding it." That changed him. And it should change you. Sometimes silence protects your energy. Sometimes results are your explanation. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time explaining what a good man should be. Be one. Powerful. Because people respect consistency more than explanation. You do not need to defend every decision. Not every critic deserves access to your reasoning. Not every doubter deserves your energy. Protect your peace. Protect your path. And understand. Over-explaining often comes from insecurity. Confidence does not over-justify. Confidence decides. A woman once ended a toxic friendship. The other person demanded explanation. Argued. Manipulated. She gave one sentence. "This no longer aligns with my peace." And left. That was strength. Not cruelty. Strength. Because boundaries spoken clearly command respect. And respect begins with self-respect. Now the 5th law. And this one may be the strongest of all. Law number 5, use silence as power. Silence is misunderstood. People think silence means weakness. It does not. Silence is often strength under control. There was once a philosopher insulted in public. Mocked. Laughed at. Everyone watched. Waiting for his reaction. He said nothing. And walked away. His student ran after him. "Master, why didn't you answer?" The philosopher smiled. If someone offers you something and you do not accept it, who does it belong to? The student said. The person offering it. The philosopher nodded. So too with insults. That is silence. Not surrender. Mastery. Silence protects dignity. Not every attack deserves your response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. Silence forces people to sit with their own noise. And often, that is more powerful than any argument. Think of water. Still water reflects clearly. Disturbed water reflects nothing. Silence is stillness. And stillness sharpens perception. People who master silence observe more, understand more, and speak better. A businessman once sat in negotiation. The other side talked endlessly. Pushed. Pressured. He remained silent. Calm. Listening. And the silence became uncomfortable. Eventually, the other side started revealing more than they planned. That's power. Silence creates space. And in space, truth appears. Most people are afraid of silence, because silence forces them to face themselves. But if you become comfortable in silence, you become difficult to manipulate. Because manipulation depends on reaction. Silence interrupts reaction. And interruption creates control. Control creates respect. Now let's speak about something important. Respect is not only built by what you say, but by what you refuse to say. Refuse gossip. Refuse pettiness. Refuse unnecessary criticism. Refuse emotional explosions. Refuse desperate explanations. These refusals shape your reputation. And reputation shapes respect. There was once an old warrior known for few words. People feared him. But more importantly, they respected him. Why? Not because he was violent, but because when he spoke, he meant every word. And when he was silent, his silence had presence. That is the goal. Not to speak more, but to speak better. To make your words heavier, stronger, cleaner. And understand this. Weak speech creates weak presence. Complaining weakens speech. Begging weakens speech. Seeking approval weakens speech. Speaking from fear weakens speech. But truth, spoken calmly, creates gravity. And gravity pulls respect. So from today, speak less. Control emotion. Speak clearly. Stop over-explaining. Master silence. These 5 Stoic laws will transform how people see you. And more importantly, how you see yourself. Because speech shapes identity. Every word trains your mind. Every pause builds discipline. Every silence builds power. If this message helped you, follow the Stoic path. Because here, we build quiet strength, mental discipline, and the kind of presence that speaks, even in silence. Remember, a powerful person does not need loud words. Only true ones. Now let's go deeper. Because mastering speech is not just about what comes out of your mouth. It is about what lives in your mind. Speech is the mirror of thought. And if your mind is chaotic, your words will be chaotic. If your mind is disciplined, your words will carry discipline. This is why Stoics train the mind before the tongue. Because the tongue only reveals what the mind has prepared. A careless mind creates careless speech. A sharp mind creates sharp speech. And sharp speech commands respect. Let me tell you something most people ignore. People are always studying your words. Not just listening. Studying. Watching how you respond under pressure. Watching how you speak when challenged. Watching how you handle disagreement. And in those moments, your character is exposed. Not performed. Exposed. That is why speech matters. A man can build respect for years. And destroy it in one uncontrolled sentence. One outburst. One insult. One emotional reaction. That's how fragile respect can be. There was once a merchant known for wisdom. People trusted him deeply. One day, during a disagreement, he insulted a customer publicly. The room fell silent. The customer left. And though the merchant apologized, something changed. Trust weakened. Because words leave marks. This is why Stoics guarded their speech. Not out of fear. Out of awareness. Awareness that words cannot be recalled. Once released, they belong to the world. And the world remembers. So here is another hidden Stoic principle. Speak to build, not destroy. Many people use words like weapons. To wound. To embarrass. To dominate. And they mistake that for strength. It is not. Real strength builds. A strong person can correct without humiliating. Disagree without insulting. Lead without shouting. That is power. There was once a teacher with two students. One made mistakes often. The first teacher insulted him. Embarrassed him. The student became fearful. Weak. Silent. The second teacher corrected him calmly. Firmly. Clearly. And the student grew stronger. Same correction. Different delivery. Different result. Words can break people. Or build them. Choose carefully. Because respect grows around people who use words wisely. Now let's speak about confidence. Because confidence changes speech. But many people misunderstand confidence. Confidence is not loudness. Confidence is certainty. It is speaking without needing approval. Without chasing agreement. Without begging to be understood. A confident person says what is true. And lets it stand. That is strength. A weak speaker keeps checking the room. Watching faces. Searching for approval. Changing their truth to fit the crowd. And people feel that. People can sense insecurity in speech. Not always in words. In energy. That nervous laugh. That constant apologizing. That shrinking of truth. It all speaks. And respect weakens. Stop apologizing for your presence. Stop softening truth out of fear. Speak with calm conviction. Not arrogance. Conviction. There was once a young lawyer terrified of public speaking. Every time he spoke, his voice shook. His hands trembled. He spoke too fast. One day his mentor told him, "Slow down. Truth does not rush." That changed everything. He slowed his speech. Paused more. Breathed deeper. And suddenly, people listened. Because calm creates authority. Rushed speech feels uncertain. Measured speech feels powerful. So here's a powerful practice. Slow down when you speak. Speed often comes from anxiety. And anxiety leaks through speech. But slowness communicates control. Not too slow. Deliberate. Intentional. Controlled. Imagine a judge speaking. A leader speaking. A wise elder speaking. They do not rush. Because rushed speech weakens authority. A pause is not weakness. A pause is control. And control commands respect. Silence between words gives weight to words. Use pauses. Let your words land. A story. A master swordsman once fought a younger man. The younger man moved fast. Wild. Aggressive. The master moved slowly. Calmly. And won easily. Afterward, someone asked, "How did you defeat speed?" The master replied, "Speed without control defeats itself." Speech is the same. Fast words without control lose power. Slow controlled words create precision. And precision creates respect. Now another important law. Never speak from desperation. Desperation changes everything. Desperate people beg. Over-explain. Chase. Plead. And desperation weakens respect. This applies to friendships. Relationships. Business. Everything. A man once kept texting someone who ignored him. Explaining. Pleading. Trying to force connection. His friend told him. Your silence would have protected your dignity. Painful. But true. Do not beg for attention. Do not beg for understanding. Do not beg to be heard. Speak once. Clearly. Honestly. And let it stand. Dignity matters. Stoics understood dignity. They valued inner stability over external approval. And speech was part of that. Now let's address criticism. Because criticism tests speech deeply. When criticized, what do? Defend immediately. Attack back. Shut down. A Stoic listens first. Not because criticism is always right. But because calm evaluation is power. There was once a philosopher criticized publicly. Instead of reacting, he listened. And simply asked. Is there truth in what was said? That question changed the room. Because wisdom seeks truth. Not ego protection. Sometimes criticism is useful. Sometimes it is noise. Wisdom knows the difference. Ego reacts. Wisdom examines. That difference shapes everything. Your life will not change by waiting, wishing, or making excuses. Change begins the moment you decide to act. In this video, you'll discover why procrastination keeps you trapped, how excuses steal your potential, and what it takes to take back control of your life starting today. The truth is simple, no one is coming to save you. Your future depends on the choices you make right now. Every delayed dream, every ignored goal, and every wasted day pulls you further away from the life you want. But the good news? You can change that today. This video will challenge you to stop overthinking, stop delaying, and start moving toward discipline, growth, and self-mastery. Because the life you want is built through action, not intention. The time is now. Start now. Take back your power. Take back your focus. Take back your life. Follow the Stoic path for more wisdom on discipline, resilience, and personal growth.